Who let this happen? Seriously, who thought it was a good idea to pair Jimmy Butler with Stephen Curry? The rest of the NBA must be kicking themselves right now because Golden State just found their missing piece. Since Jimmy Butler arrived in the Bay Area, we're witnessing the resurrection of a dynasty that everyone thought was dead and buried. Look at what's happening right now. The Warriors have gone from struggling to stay relevant to absolutely terrifying in a matter of weeks. They're 5-1 with Butler in the lineup, and these aren't just scrappy wins. We're talking about complete demolition jobs against legitimate playoff teams. Remember when they just dismantled the Kings by 20? Or how about when they made Luka Doncic and the Mavericks look like a G League team? This is the Warriors team we feared for years. Except now they've got a new wrinkle. It's not just the Splash Brothers anymore. It's not just the motion offense. Now they have Jimmy Butler, one of the most competitive two-way forces in the league, alongside the greatest shooter ever. The chemistry is instant, the results are immediate, and the rest of the Western Conference should be absolutely terrified of what's brewing in San Francisco right now. The Warriors aren't just winning with Jimmy Butler, they're absolutely steamrolling teams. Since Butler put on that blue and gold jersey, Golden State has transformed into a wrecking ball, going 5-1 and looking more dangerous with each passing game. But it's not just about the record, it's how they're winning that should have alarm bells ringing across the league. These aren't nail-biters or lucky finishes, we're talking complete and utter domination. Against Sacramento, a team fighting for playoff position, the Warriors were up by 30 in the third quarter. 30. Against Dallas, with MVP candidate Luka Doncic, they turned what should have been a Western Conference showdown into a nationally televised embarrassment. The Mavs had no answers as Golden State dismantled them piece by piece, with the starters resting for the entire fourth quarter. And if you want to know the single most telling sign that the Warriors are back, just look at Steph Curry's body language. This is a man reborn. Against Dallas, Curry dropped 30 before the third quarter even ended, then hit the Mavericks with the iconic night-night celebration in the third quarter. When was the last time we saw that level of swagger and confidence from Curry? The man was dancing on the sidelines, beaming with that childlike joy we haven't seen consistently since the 73-win season. Watch Curry's celebrations after hitting those impossible threes. Look at his demeanor setting up the offense. The weight has been lifted. That slight hesitation, that extra burden he's been carrying is gone. Instead of looking like a superstar trying to hold a crumbling empire together, he's back to being the carefree assassin who revolutionized basketball. And it's all because Jimmy Butler walked through those doors and said, "I got you." Here's the thing about Jimmy Butler that makes this Warriors experiment so deadly. He's not just a scorer added to a team that needed more points. He's a complete basketball player who fills every gap this roster had. The numbers tell a story of perfect integration: 20 points, nearly 6 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game. But what's remarkable isn't just what Butler's producing, it's how he's producing it. Let's talk efficiency. In an era where stars routinely jack up 20-plus shots a game, Jimmy's averaging only 12 field goal attempts while still giving you 20 points. That's because he's getting to the line at an elite level. 8 free throw attempts per game since joining Golden State. Think about what that means for a team that has historically struggled to generate easy points. Suddenly, the Warriors have someone who can create something out of nothing, who can turn a broken possession into 2 points by drawing contact. But the most impressive stat in Butler's Warriors tenure isn't his scoring, it's his playmaking precision. He's averaging over 5 assists while committing just 1 turnover per game. 1. Do you understand how absurd that 5-1 assist to turnover ratio is? For context, Chris Paul, widely regarded as one of the best pure point guards ever, has a career ratio of about 4. Butler's making point guard level decisions as a forward, all while defending at an all-NBA level. And here's what's fascinating. Butler isn't dominating the ball to do this. His usage rate sits at just 22%, significantly lower than his Miami days. He's finding ways to completely transform this team without disrupting what makes the Warriors special. He's not trying to be the focal point. He's enhancing every aspect of their existing system while adding dimensions they desperately needed. This isn't a star forcing his way into a new team. This is a perfect basketball marriage where strengths are amplified and weaknesses are covered. Butler's playmaking has unlocked new dimensions for the Warriors' offense. Against Minnesota, his subtle shimmy move against Edwards created just enough defensive attention to free up post for a wide-open 3. Even when pressured, Butler maintains complete court awareness, like when he lost his dribble against Denver but still found Moody cutting backdoor for an easy dunk. His transition game might be even more impressive. Watch that fourth quarter sequence against Dallas where Butler grabbed a defensive rebound, pushed the pace, and delivered a perfect pass to Podziemski for the dagger 3. No hesitation, no forcing his own shot, just brilliant basketball instinct. The most telling sign of Butler's impact, his teammates' reactions. Podziemski jumping into Butler's arms after that crucial 3. Wiggins finally smiling after months of struggle. Even Draymond Green, basketball's toughest critic, pointing at Butler after a brilliant read. The Warriors aren't just winning again, they're playing with the joy that defined their dynasty years. Butler's defensive impact might be even more valuable than his offense. Against Portland, watch how he positioned himself as a free safety, reading Simon's only passing option to Prince before the play developed. Butler jumped the lane for a steal that led directly to a Podziemski fast break dunk. This isn't just good defense, it's defensive clairvoyance. What makes Butler special is his ability to disrupt without gambling. Against Chicago, he contained DeRozan perfectly, forced a tough fadeaway, then secured the rebound against a bigger player and immediately pushed the pace. It's the complete defensive possession that changes games without making highlight reels. The Warriors' defense-to-offense philosophy has reached new heights with Butler. Against the Lakers, he stripped Anthony Davis clean in the post, a feat few can accomplish, and immediately found Curry for a transition 3 that completely deflated LA's momentum. When Curry points at Butler after a defensive stand, when Draymond nods in approval after Butler disrupts an opponent's set, it signals something profound. The Warriors aren't just adding Butler's individual defense, they're experiencing a defensive revival that echoes their championship DNA. Steph Curry at 36 should be slowing down. Instead, he's looking reborn with Butler taking pressure off his shoulders. The workload that was crushing him earlier this season, the constant double teams, the physical defense, the expectation to create everything has been lifted. The results speak for themselves. Against Dallas, Curry put up 30 points in just 3 quarters, celebrating with the night-night gesture early. This wasn't just scoring, it was Curry regaining his signature swagger. Remember when PJ Washington mocked him weeks earlier after a Mavs win? Curry didn't forget, returning the favor after cooking him in isolation. That's the key difference. Curry's now getting one-on-one opportunities again. Watch his matchup with Exum hesitation move, hip check, and the strength to finish through contact at the rim, or that crossover against Washington that froze the defender before a perfect teardrop. These aren't just baskets, they're statements that the greatest shooter ever can still break you down off the dribble when given space to operate. With Butler commanding defensive attention, Curry's getting cleaner looks and more room to work. We're seeing the return of the most feared offensive weapon in basketball, except now he's fresher, more efficient, and doesn't have to carry the entire offensive burden. The NBA's worst nightmare is a rested Curry with something to prove. Butler and Curry aren't the only ones thriving. Everyone around them is leveling up. Moody and Podziemski have become legitimate contributors, each putting up 15 points a game since Butler arrived. Moody is drilling threes at 40%, attacking closeouts, and defending with newfound confidence. Podziemski, despite standing just 6'4", is somehow grabbing 13 rebounds per game while making all the hustle plays that don't show up in box scores. The real surprise, Quinton Post. The 52nd pick is shooting 42% from 3 and showing skills most centers don't possess. Whether it's catching and firing quickly over help defenders or putting the ball on the floor in transition before knocking down shots, Post gives the Warriors a dimension they've desperately needed. These young players aren't just benefiting from star gravity, they're seizing their opportunities and growing in confidence with each game. The Warriors' offense has evolved beyond the predictable Steph or bust approach that teams had figured out. Now they run multiple actions with counters for every defensive adjustment. Against Chicago, they started with Butler posting up, drew the double team, then flowed into Curry coming off a screen for a 3. When Portland overplayed that action, Butler rejected the screen and attacked the rim. Their ball movement has returned to championship levels. Against Dallas, they recorded 32 assists on 41 made field goals. Players are cutting with purpose again, knowing Butler will find them. The spacing is perfect with Curry, Moody, and Post stretching defenses beyond their breaking point. What makes this system truly dangerous is its unpredictability. On any possession, the Warriors can attack with Curry's shooting gravity, Butler's mid-range and post-game, or the improved playmaking of Draymond Green finding cutters. This offensive versatility means opponents can no longer simply trap Curry and dare others to beat them. Now those others will beat you just as decisively. The Warriors are legitimate contenders again. Butler and Curry together have fixed their defensive gaps, diversified their offense, and restored their championship confidence. The Western Conference should be worried. Young players are developing fast while veterans look rejuvenated. This isn't just a playoff team, it's a dynasty reawakening. Subscribe for more Warriors breakdowns as they climb the standings. Drop a like if you're enjoying this Curry-Butler partnership. The dynasty everyone thought was finished might just be entering its next chapter.